to drive your career, not just ride along? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Power of Owning Your Career podcast. I'm Simone E. Morris, your host and career strategist, here to give you the roadmap. Each week, we're cutting through the noise with strategies, stories, and insights to get you back in control. Your career clarity starts right here. Welcome to this week's episode. It's season 14, and I'm excited to be back with you on a regular basis. There are three things I want to cover with you as we kick off the new season. Number one, what has Simone been up to since we closed out the previous season? And what can you expect in this season? And number three, my favorite career tip this week. I thought it'd be nice to share that with you so that you can have something actionable you can take forward in the episode. So let's jump right into it. The first thing is, what has Simone been up to? Well, one of the first things I want to share that I'm really excited about is that I've been doing quite a bit of philanthropy. I lost my mom to Alzheimer's in 2024, and since then, I've amplified my participation and support of the Alzheimer's Association. In fact, in January of 2025, I went down to Atlanta to a volunteer summit, and it was amazing and insightful. I met the audience for that event was about 1,600 people from around the country, all passionate, all wearing a lot of purple. They would use the comment, sea of purple. And I have to say, going into the elevator or down the escalator and seeing all that purple was, it made me happy. And I thought, I've got to improve my wardrobe. And so I did end up getting some merchandise from the event, which I love. But it was a wonderful it was a wonderful conference summit that really opened my eyes about this disease. Did you know that there are nearly 7 million Americans living with Alzheimer's disease? And in fact, it's impacting organizations, corporate America, and you might not even know. So I intend to get more involved with this organization and learning. I'm on the executive leadership committee for the Connecticut chapter in the location that I'm in. So excited to be closer to that. And then in February, I got the opportunity to go up to our state capital, Hartford, Connecticut, and to go advocate for bills that are directly going to impact Alzheimer's. So, for example, there are these things called biomarkers that help to detect whether a person has Alzheimer's or not. And there is funding that is necessary to make that widely available. So that was one of the bills that we were advocating for at the Capitol. And the other was really to provide more support to caregivers. And speaking as a caregiver who really, I have a young child as well as my mom was elderly. And so sort of that sandwich generation, and caregiving is no joke. It just like entrepreneurship, by the way, for those who are new and don't know, I am an entrepreneur full time. And so these are responsibilities that are pretty taxing and require a lot from you as a human being. So I'm happy to hear that the Alzheimer's Association is really advocating for more funding and support to pour into caregivers. So it was insightful for me to be up there and hear all of this that's going on. And again, this is for this particular event, the Advocacy Day. This was for the state of Connecticut, and I got the opportunity to be up there and to share messaging with senators and representatives and just to advocate for more support, which makes me feel like I'm doing something good for the world. So I look forward to doing more of that. So that's one of the big things that I've been up to. And I will tell you that I have been working. I continue to work in my business. My business turned 10 years old, and I continue to work on and in my business. And a lot of reflection about the state of the world. I want to tell you that it feels like you're on an airplane and it's a very bumpy ride. A lot of turbulence. I feel like when I wake up and I check my mailbox or I go on LinkedIn, there's just news about what's happening. And in particular for me, I work in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space as well. And so there's always a update about what a company is deprioritizing or pivoting or moving away from DEI. Or sometimes there's good news that I look forward to seeing companies that are really doubling down on their commitment or staying firm with their commitment. So, for example, Apple and Costco have uh, really said they're committed and remaining committed to DEI, while there are others who have said no, they're making changes. It feels like there's a lot of scare tactics around DEI and a lot of conversation around DEI is lowering standards. And I'm trying to take all that in. Again, most of my work is around creating an inclusive workplace and really helping leaders to have inclusive careers. So I have been taking that all in, and it's a lot to take in. And sometimes you need to take in before you pour back out. And that's one of the reasons you haven't heard from me or this podcast hasn't come out sooner, because I've been pouring into myself so that I can do the job as a coach, consultant, and trainer of pouring out a bit more, like I usually do. I will say that the Calm app has been in overdrive for sure. And if any of you have used that app, you know that it is a wonderful app with lots of mindfulness. I, in particular, like the brown noise, which sounds like you're in an airplane, and just a humming sound that definitely helps me stay calm at night once I lay down and put the day behind me. So that's a bit of what I've been up to since we've last spoken or we've last connected. I also want to talk to you about what you can expect this season. At a very succinct level, what you can expect is more inspiring leadership stories. I really enjoy doing the interviews and hearing from people about what their formula is for owning their career. What are the resources that are helpful to them? How did they get to the driver's seat? And that is the fundamentals of what this podcast was created on. We are over 200 episodes, so it's exciting to me to continue to do the interview process and to hear people's stories. I still get motivated, so the show will continue. You'll get to hear more from Simone. I want to talk more with you about the tips for owning your career. So you have my commitment that you're going to hear more Simone episodes in this season. And something new for this season is more experts. Normally, the way the show is laid out is that we do leadership interviews and you hear those stories. I'll continue to do those. You also had solo interviews with Simone. And then we're going to have topical interviews about career topics that may be of interest. For example, think about something like AI that's going on and how you need to shore up your knowledge around AI. In fact, I this week just took some time off to get out of the office and go to a seminar on AI, how to use AI in your business. I've also done some certificate courses at Cornell online around AI strategy. So I want to encourage you to invest in educating yourself about AI and how you can use it to be more effective in your role. So I brought up AI to say that we will have some experts come in and talk specifically on topics that are going to help you in your career. So I'm looking forward to those type of conversations this season as well. And I hope you enjoyed the season. I want to hear more from you this season. So I would say more audience engagement where you're letting me know how the show is impacting you, whether it's dropping me a line or connecting connecting with me on LinkedIn and letting me know how the show is impacting you. We do actually have a group on LinkedIn. So my hope is to be more active in this group in the new season. So you can look for me there. Also, I want you to push out the content, share share what you're learning with others, because there is quite a bit of noise that's going on in the world, and it doesn't always feel good. And so any positive noise I want to lean towards, just to fill us up so that we can navigate the season that we're in. Now, also, I want to give you my career tip of the week. So for me, the career tip this week is tap into alerts. Tap into alerts. I have this process where I have created a Google alert. And for me, the Google alert is on industry specifics. So I have a Google alert around diversity and inclusion. So every day I am getting a alert that's telling me what is happening in diversity and inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I find it informative because it really keeps me on the pulse of what's happening in my industry. And I want to encourage you to think about the time that you're making to read and consume content that is keeping you on the pulse of the industry that you're in, and also in the profession that you're in. So I want to encourage you to do that. And while we're talking about alerts, the other thing that would be a good idea is for you to put an alert on your name if you haven't done so, because then you can find out who's talking about you online. And a digital footprint is really important these days. So you want to see what's being said about you, negative or positive, so that you can do something about it. If it's positive, you likely want to amplify it. If it's negative, you likely want to get to a place of curiosity. What's this about? Let me learn more. Let me discover. Let me explore. And let me figure out how I want to handle this. So I want to encourage you in terms of tips this week that a Google alert is a good thing to do, to not only build your awareness of your industry and your profession, but also to learn about how you show up digitally. So that is Simone's tip for this week. I'm excited about the season ahead. We have some terrific guests coming up, and it is my hope that you continue to listen to the show and share it with others. Really push the message out there. I welcome the opportunity for reviews as well, because that is how we get more exposure. And really looking forward to staying with you this season for the show. Check out new episodes that's going to be released weekly. You can check them out on Monday mornings. And that's it. Again, please stay connected, and I will see you next week with the first episode of the season. Thank you so much for listening to the show. That's it for today's empowering episode. I'm Simone E. Morris, and I want you to remember that you are indeed the architect of your career. Share this episode if it sparked something in you. Subscribe wherever you listen, and find more resources at SimoneMorrisEnterprises.org. Keep practicing career ownership, and I'll be right here with you next week for more transformation.